Hi, Jon Pegg. Thanks a lot for your time today. Tell us about your background in boxing and your achievements.
My background is matchmaker, manager, trainer, done a bit of promoted over 100 shows. Started off as a whip. Before that I boxed pro. I wasn't a very good pro, so I don't talk about that much if I can help it. But I'll give it a go and it gives you a good kind of idea. And now it's kind of like I've got people boxing all over the place for titles. I've got lads who are coming through. I've got lads who box on the road. We do home shows. A bit of everything, you know. It's still enjoyable, which is nice.
Of course. Now, obviously, boxing is a very difficult and dangerous sport. Why do you think so many fighters seem to struggle with it? For example, Harold Graham, I've met him before. After boxing, he started working in Sainsbury's. You get so many fighters that run into financial troubles and different difficulties. Why do you think this is the case?
I think boxers are to be a good boxer, you've got to be totally kind of one-tracked.
Yeah.
The ones who are better businessmen are not good boxers because they haven't got the pure kind of savagery to be a really good boxer. But people who have got that kind of one-track mind and savagery, they don't live in the real world that easy.
No.
You know the rules where you have to fill out forms and stuff like that. These guys, if they was in the olden days, they'd be knights of the round table and stuff like that.
Or gladiators.
Yeah, gladiators. They're not built for the real world. They're built for what they do. And then when it finishes, it's kind of like, oh fuck. I'm used to a place where the better man stands and it's one-on-one and we deal with it that way. And the real world ain't like that. The real world is filling out forms and people sending letters and private messages and bullshit like that. Boxers ain't really good boxers. They're equipped for that shit. They're equipped for what they do. And also, a lot of boxers, they come from somewhere where there's not a lot. That's why they're good boxers, because they're hungry, yeah?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the good ones get given a lot for half an hour's work. So like a lot of good footballers who come from them same backgrounds, they get given a lot quickly. They spend it quickly, and they get in that habit of a bit like Mike Tyson.
Of course, yeah.
You know, they spend it easy because they're not used to having it, and then when it suddenly stops, you only have to have a year or two of the same lifestyle, and it's all gone.
Yeah.
Because there's no income, but you've like I say, you only have to keep that mad lifestyle up for a year, and your savings quickly go. It's very hard for a boxer to go, well, now I've got to live on a wage rather than a big chunk of money every 3 months. So a lot of them kind of find it hard that way. And guys like Harold Graham, you know, they was a special talent. And sometimes you find people who are that special a talent, they're not equipped for like the other stuff. It's like they used everything they've got for that special talent. And then the rest of it, they're kind of like, oh man, I'm not ready for this. I've spent my whole life learning to be the best at slipping or ducking or punching. So it's kind of like they find it hard to adjust then. And also, it's cruel that a lot of boxers just get left on their own after boxing. So they've gone from having a full team of people helping them, answering their emails, figuring stuff out, letting them train and be the best boxer, to suddenly having to do everything themselves. And literally, they spent 15 years with a team, and then the team's working with a new boxer and you've retired. So I think, you know, there's a lot of things why boxers struggle after boxing. It's unlike a lot of other jobs, you kind of slide out of it a bit easier.
Yeah.
Whereas with boxing, 1 minute you're at the top of the world, the next minute, bang, it's done.
Yeah.
And you've got to suddenly learn to deal with real life. I think anyone would struggle with that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Conor Benn, he was doing so well. It's like Conor Benn, he was doing extremely well, big name, and then the minute he failed that test, now you've got all that pressure on you.
That's a little bit different because Conor's still kind of got, you know, his lawyer's working on it. So he's still got the hope he's going to fight again. So he's got positivity. And because he's such a big name, he'll still be getting big sponsors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But a boxer who's suddenly lost and he's too old to really carry on, and people know that, it comes to a grinding halt. The sponsors stop, the fans stop. There's no hope for going forward because they're 37 years old, or you know, or they might have been injured. Conor Benn's still got light at the end of the tunnel because he's looking and going, well, once I prove this, I'm going to be back to normal. But the guys who hit a brick wall, it must be so hard. And sometimes I'm kind of lucky that I weren't a good boxer because I was ready to carry on straight away because I never got anywhere any good. But to be at the top of a mountain and then suddenly be walking in the valleys, you know what I mean, and with no one walking next to you, it must be really, really tough, you know what I mean?
I think that's a very great explanation. The last two questions I'm going to ask you, did you see the recent Eddie Hearn, Simon Jordan interview?
No, I didn't watch it. You know, I'm quite a fan of the way Simon Jordan gets stuck in. But I like what Eddie does, you know what I mean? And the fact is, he can't win there because a promoter's got to stand by his boxer.
Yeah.
You know, you can be reasonable, but if you don't stand by your boxer, the boxer's going to go, who the fuck's team are you on?
Exactly.
And also, the other boxers are going to go, well, I don't know if we agree with that, but you should have at least fronted it up. So Eddie's fronting it up, and he's doing a hard job. He's had a bit of bad luck in the last year or so. So I didn't watch it because, like I say, I like what Simon Jordan does, but I like what Eddie does. And I thought that's going to be a big clash, and I thought I don't want to watch that. You know what I mean? I don't know who I want to come out on top. I don't know who I, you know. So I just didn't watch it. I'll be honest.
No, that's why I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I'll tell you. So I watched it. I thought it went terrible. You had
In which way?
So you have two very intelligent guys who've both achieved a lot in life. They've made however many millions each.
Yeah.
But the whole thing just turned into absolute slanging match, arguing, not letting each other talk.
Which is exactly why I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? I didn't want to watch two guys that I like what they do. I had a feeling something like that might happen, or one of them might get buried. I didn't want to see it, so I just didn't bother watching it. With me, I'm not one of these people who'll stop and look at a car crash. If I don't like something, I ignore it like it's not there, and I just go straight past it. So, and now you've told me that, I'm glad I didn't watch it, to be honest.
I'm glad you didn't watch it either. But to finish off on that subject, the reason I've been so interested in it shows you the massive problem with boxing, where you had these two very intelligent guys where they could have come together, they could have had an amazing conversation, but they allowed their egos to get involved. And where they could have made a lot of progress for boxing, I mean, you know, you got Eddie threatening to, I want to spar you, I'm going to slap you one, and Simon's getting very threatening to sue him.
Eddie Hill's 4-0, 2 by way off.
Yeah, I think we all know who said that. And I just thought it was a complete waste of time. They could have done so much. And
this is why I didn't watch it. I just had a feeling that this ain't going to be a good interview. You know, I thought it might be controversial, and it might be a bit nitty gritty, but I was never one for watching Jeremy Kyle and stuff. I don't want to watch people getting dragged out and being proved wrong or getting nasty. I like to watch good stuff. I like to watch interesting stuff. Like, you know, I watch Eddie's interviews with Coogan where we speak for an hour. I don't watch all the way through sometimes, but I watch the bits because it's interesting. But when you got two guys like going at each other, and especially when there's a few sore subjects, it's not my kind of.
No, I agree.
It's not my fun to watch.
I'm not like that. And to finish off, but what I'm trying to say, the reason I keep bringing it up, do you think this is the problem with boxing, where a lot of people in power, instead of sitting down and saying, look, mate, we've got some work to do, let's get it done, behind the scenes, things like this happen. They fall out with each other. Promoters not working with each other. Promoters insulting each other. Do you think this is a massive problem in boxing at the moment?
Yeah. To be honest, I can't disagree with that. But it's always has been, hasn't it? I mean, Bob Arum and Don King famously worked together a couple of times, but most of the time they was trying to fuck each other up.
I remember.
And if you go back to when Mickey Duff and the Cartel was the guys, it literally took Frank Warren
to smash
overturning them. And they were freezing people out like you wouldn't believe. Like, people were just, like, if you think it's bad now, they were like putting the chop on people, stopping people working, stopping people boxing, stopping people promoting, stopping people having TV deals. Bang, just stopping it. People think boxing like can be a bit ruthless now. Back then, ruthless.
Wow.
And then when you go back to like Jack Solomons and people like that, they just took livings off people. You ain't coming in on our patch, bang, out. Nowadays, with all the TV channels and stuff, everyone's got a chance. So while it is a bit crap that they don't get the best out of it, it's nowhere near as bad as it was. And, you know, the good thing is people have got options. You know, if you go back, there were some boxers who were very, very good fighters who literally couldn't get a title shot. You know, look what Sonny Liston and
Ali
got okay because he had that personality, but Jake LaMotta, he had to literally let someone knock him out to get his title shot. Billy Fox, have a look at it. He threw the fights.
I remember same with Sugar Ray Robinson. They tried to get him to throw fights.
They tried to get him to, because he was so big, he kind of got round it. But suddenly listening, he had to do what he was told and people like that. That can't happen so much now. Because if a promoter tries to wield that power, it's like boxing, you can slip away to someone else and have a good deal. UFC is a bit like boxing used to be. You know, Sonny Edwards from my hometown, not Sonny Edwards, Rocky Edwards, sorry Sonny. Rocky Edwards from my hometown of Birmingham wanted to defend his UFC world title in a big fight, and Dana White just went, no, you're doing this. And he's like, I don't want to, I've got a bit, no, you're doing this, what I want. The guy I like, you're fighting him. No choice. Wow. That's how boxing used to be. Now it's not. Some things it's good, some things it's bad. The bad things is we don't get the fights we want on that. The good thing is nobody ever gets frozen out. Charlie Burley, one of the best fighters ever, never got to fight for a title.
Murder as well.
Too good.
Yeah, Murder as well. I've heard of him.
But Charlie Burley was probably one of the... They was all great, but he never actually got to fight for the title. And so many well-knowledgeable people said he was one of the best ever. And because of this kind of the way they had it, he never got to fight for it. Nowadays, he would have fought for a WBO or something, at least got recognised. So for all the bad points, I always try and find the good points, you know what I mean? And for all the bad points, there's a lot of good points with these lots of different competition and the fact that if someone don't work with someone, they're not stuck anymore, they can move elsewhere and give it a try elsewhere. So I try and find the silver linings, you know. There's always going to be bad stuff. Don't worry about it, find the good bits, makes life easier.
You're a very knowledgeable guy. Same with Sam Langford, he never got a title shot.
And that wouldn't happen nowadays. That wouldn't happen. If someone was freezing Sam Langford out, he would move to a promoter in even another country and he would get his title shot and he would be recognised. Back then, it was the colour bar, there was like promoters being able to put who they wanted in, and guys like Sam Langford, Charlie Burley, the Black Murderers Row, they didn't get a chance. That wouldn't happen nowadays. So for all the things that are wrong, there's people from the so-called golden era who would love to be boxing nowadays. You know, they would love to have their chance now, where they couldn't be sidelined, they couldn't be shelved. So, like I say, for every bad bit, there's always a good bit if you look for it. I try and look for the good bits. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. I mean, let's finish off. But what was his name? Harry Wills. So there was the one guy, Jack Dempsey.
Yeah, Jack Dempsey didn't want to fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on, you know.
But then that's why when people say, oh, there should be one champ, I say there was a lot of bad things happen when there was only one champ. I don't like seeing 4, but I think 2 or even 3 is good because it means no one can get frozen out. And there's been some all-time great fighters frozen out and left and just never got their chance, and that can't be right. I'd rather be those 2 titles and someone gets to fight for what they deserve. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, we can talk about another time, but they've got to sort the sport out. In every other sport, there's a structure. You look at the World Cup, look how quickly you had the best teams in the world, they all played each other. Argentina won it. In boxing, I mean, look at Fury. I'm not going to go into it, but all this stuff about Fury, Usyk,
That's because boxing's self-regulating.
Yeah.
It hasn't got a world body.
We need to get
It's got world
one.
sanctioning bodies, but it hasn't got like a governmental world body, whereas everything else have. Boxing hasn't, so it's more of a business. And in business, the pound note is more important than other things sometimes. Boxing's a business, so not that I agree with it, but it is. It hasn't. If it had a world governing body that wasn't a self-appointed sanctioning body, if it had a government regulated world body, boxing would be a different place. But some things would be worse. Some things would be better, but some things would be worse. For all the better things you get, like I'm saying here, where some of the bad things mean that we get good things, we would get more good things, but there'd be all the worse things as well. So you have to just take what's here today, enjoy it and get the most out of it. It's nice to try and change, but don't worry too much about it because you'll never enjoy the moment, do you know what I mean?
I respect you're very wise, man. I don't really want to take up too much time, so...
that's cool, man.
It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to speaking to you in future.
No problem, man. Have a good one.
You too, sir. You too. Thanks for your time, John.
Is that okay, yeah?